Thanks for showing up. My name is Renier Lemmens. I run PayPal in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I thought I should thank you first of all for being here, because I believe I'm everything that's left between yourselves and the end of the conference. And as I was looking out over the railings there, you could have been in fascinating sessions in the digital and mobile marketing theater, or the payment and security theater. I wonder what's going on there if PayPal isn't speaking there. I mean, who else could possibly have something to say about payments? So what I wanted to do in the next half hour is share with you our plans. I'm not going to talk about our current business. I assume you're familiar with our current business. If not, it's very easy to find out more about our current business. Just for my own amusement, who here is a PayPal customer? Consumer? Merchant? Alright, pretty cool. Those of you who are not yet PayPal customers, shame on you. And I will not continue until you sign up. It's as simple as that. No, those of you who are PayPal customers are one among 103 million or so now. If you are a merchant customer, you're one among 8 or 9 million. And we're growing still very rapidly. My boss, who is the global CEO, has said we're going to double our business every 3 years, and we are well on track of doing that. And we do that in EMEA as well. Sorry that I'm not going to hop around so much. I had a motorcycle accident. I was doing motocross, which, for those of you who are not yet 47, don't do it. You know, 47-year-old man shouldn't be motocrossing anymore. I should be playing golf, although that's really bad for your knees, I heard. Anyway, I did both knees and they operated on it, and I'm fine, but I look a bit like the bionic man now. By the way, when I got home, my kids, 17, 14, and 12, they were literally lining up, and their first words out of their mouth when they saw me like this were, "Run, Forrest, run." Which, don't expect any sympathy from your kids either, alright? So, we live in interesting times in the world of e-commerce, online, offline. I'll be talking about that. That distinction, in our view, doesn't make any sense anymore. And we see all sorts of trends converging to create new opportunities. What are those trends? Well, one of them is obviously local. Now, if you think about shopping, when I grew up, I'm from Holland, and I went to the nearest big city with my mother and maybe my brother, and shopping was a family event. And then as the internet came along, shopping became me and my mouse in my house. A very lonely event, solitary event. And now, of course, with local, we see people going back out on the streets, being incentivized to do so with all sorts of offers that are not just local but also relevant. Plays right into the social trend. Who would have thought that I felt the need to share with the world that I'm in fact here, which I just did with Facebook Places, and who would have thought that friends from around the world would gather to make virtual soup on a virtual field, to share a virtual dinner with virtual friends and pay good money to do so. I mean, I couldn't have forecasted that, and I don't think anyone else could, but social and social commerce is a big deal too. Digital. The example I just gave, digital goods, everything that can be digitalized is being digitized, and it creates whole new categories of goods that weren't traded before. And then largely mobile. I mean, you're all I bet 99%, if not 100% of the audience has a smartphone in their pocket. We all walk around with the world in our pocket, really a mall in our pocket all the time. That's what it boils down to. And your mall is different from mine. So that creates a lot of opportunity for people in our space. It creates a lot of opportunity for PayPal. And how we look at it, first of all, is that the lines are really blurring. The online-offline distinction is irrelevant. Well, it's still relevant in very small pockets of the economy, but for most of our customers and most of our consumers, it's irrelevant. Those of you who have had BlackBerries for a while, and you have that little red light that at all times of the day jerks you into some sort of response when it starts flashing. You've known for years what it means to never be offline, but now with these smartphones, consumers are pretty much online all the time. Merchants increasingly are online all the time. It's very rare now to find point-of-sale systems that are not connected to the internet one way or another. So we find the distinction between online and offline irrelevant. Even though PayPal obviously is in the traditional use of words an online player, we don't think of ourselves like that anymore. We're everywhere. And the distinction for us is more one of, behind your computer via the internet versus at a point of sale. But we believe that you're going to be, man, it's warm in here, isn't it? You're going to be online whenever you are at a point of sale, whether that's a traditional point of sale that we all know, whether that's an iPad, whether that's a Foursquare-like solution, you're going to be online one way or another. So these distinctions are disappearing, and that's where a lot of opportunity gets created. We think the biggest opportunity there is around knowing the customer better. In the online world, we've been used to knowing our customers reasonably well. People tend to register when they show up, you know who they are, they have cookies, etc. In what we used to call the offline world, people have no idea who their customers are. Merchants have no idea. Now, there are exceptions, but on the whole, a point of sale, a high street merchant has no idea who's walking into their stores. And because we are connecting the dots, and we PayPal, as you will see, our aspiration is to help our merchants connect those dots. The merchant, in fact, will know who is entering their store. So from an unidentified shopper, we're moving to an identified shopper. And it's not just an identified shopper. The next stage and the real bogey is really being an understood shopper. Understood, what are you doing there? What are you looking for? What are your buying preferences? How can the merchant delight you as a consumer in that store at that point in time, given what you're doing, what you've done in the past, what you've not done in the past? And obviously PayPal has a role to play here. I mean, with our 100 million users and counting, we know an awful lot about what these people have bought, where they have bought, what they almost bought and then took out of a shopping cart, what they returned, where they returned it, how quickly they returned it, what they bought instead of what they returned. So, I mean, the parameters are endless, obviously, and the data that you can collect is endless too, but that is where we believe a real source of value lies. So let's see how that might evolve, because we think new retail also needs a new wallet. Now, everyone and their mother is talking about a digital wallet. We'd like to think that we've had one for a while. In fact, PayPal is a digital wallet. It's never been anything else. And we think of that wallet, by the way, as a wallet that doesn't live in your phone, or at least not in your phone only. We think that the phone is just one way of accessing that wallet, just as the computer is, just as the TV is, just as any of the other millions, hundreds of millions of connected devices are. So we think of our wallet as, a wallet in the cloud that's available when and where and in whatever form factor the consumer chooses to use that wallet. How might that work? And I have a little video which I'll show you, but that I can only start up from behind the computer, I think, without reading glasses. Oops, one more try.
Well, you know that it's going to be alright. I think it's gonna be alright. Everything will always be alright when we go shopping. Well, you know that it's going to be alright when we go shopping. It's always shopping's we begin. Everybody wins. Shopping once again.
Man, that is a cheesy song, isn't it? When we go shopping. What I want to emphasize is that we see this very much as a multi-channel experience. This is an experience where the consumer interacts seamlessly with a retailer, whether it is through the computer, the TV, the cell phone, whatever it may be. This is not limited to one channel, and it's not limited to any category of retailer either. In fact, the fastest growth that we see in our portfolio is in these so-called multi-channel retailers. The traditional bricks and mortar retailers who've become bricks and clicks and who have really caught up and are now rolling out on the strength of their consumer franchises. And we believe that for the consumer in the future, or really the future is here today, that seamless multi-channel integrated experience is what it's all about. Which really means that payment is just one component in the value that needs to be delivered. Payments happens to be very important because without it, nothing happens. And payments happens to be very complex too, at least in our view. It's easy to make payments. It's very difficult to make payments and not lose your shirt on risks, or to not go down, or to offer that payment methods in 60 countries around the world. So where does this all start? Way upstream in demand generation. It is really based on the understanding of the consumer, figuring out how to be relevant to that consumer. And I'll talk about what geo-targeted mobile advertising means to us. Then there is an engagement in the store. Once they show up, what do you do with them? How do you know that they're there? And how do you engage them? And if you don't do it, a competitor will do it and create a superior shopping experience, and you may not see that customer back. Then there is the issue of search. I kind of know what I want, but is it available? And if it's not available right here, where is the nearest store where I can find it? Or can I have it? Can I buy it online and have it shipped to my home? Purchase facilitation. How do I actually pay? You saw different checkout methods there, and I'll touch on those. And then finally, payment and loyalty comes in. But that's only finally. Where today, of course, PayPal is right here. A little bit here, but we do not very much of that stuff over there. And the acquisitions that we made recently are all geared towards filling out this chain and presenting one integrated service offering to our retail customers. And in our belief, only very few retailers will be able to do this by themselves. If you have a scale of a Tesco, you can contemplate that. You're big enough, you know enough about the customer, and of course you have Tesco Club Card with all the information that comes with it. But if you are anything else than Tesco and you want to do this by yourself, well, good luck. I mean, I know many retailers are trying and will try. We don't think that's the right approach. We think that a shared platform is the way that this needs to evolve. Within that, there may be distinctive retail experiences created, but we don't think that in the markets that we operate in, definitely not outside the US, many retailers have a scale in that category where they can afford to build this and implement it by themselves. First of all, hyper-relevant offers. Just an anecdote on an experiment that we ran with a US drugstore chain to illustrate the point that hyper-relevance and hyper-local is not just about proximity. It's not enough to know that I am near Harrods for Harrods to start bombarding me with offers. I mean, what is the likelihood that they're going to be relevant? So the experiment we ran with the U.S. drugstore chain went as follows. There was a flu epidemic in that part of the U.S. We collected data from a center of disease monitoring to see the flu, the incidence of flu per 1,000 inhabitants in different parts of that state. We then worked with the retailer to map out the likely evolution of that flu as it moved its way through the state. And then we started pushing mobile offers to customers of that particular retailer about flu medicine and cough drops and what have you in those areas that were most affected by flu. And relative to control, that retailer saw a 62% share or sales uplift. And it's a lot of work for just one campaign. Just clearly not scalable in its current format. But that's the kind of relevance that we believe you need to have in order for the consumer to accept that you push these offers out to them. And if anyone here is a customer of Groupon or is receiving the Groupon vouchers, and I'm receiving them too, but then you can see what a challenge it is to be relevant. I mean, Groupon somewhere in their system knows or should know that I'm a 47-year-old, rapidly balding male. And so why do they send me offers to have my eyebrows, and my back waxed? All sorts of stuff comes through Groupon. How much patience am I going to have for those offers? Now imagine that on your cell phone you get 150 of those things a day. You're not going to be very interested. So we see it as paramount, and a lot of the IP that we're developing focuses on being relevant rather than just delivering random stuff to the consumer. We bought a company called Where, which has the infrastructure to do just that, and we're working on making that company ready for prime time in Europe, and the UK will, for us, usually be the first market where we launch those things before we take them into continental Europe. Second, product information at your fingertips. I mean, scanning has been around for a while, and Red Laser and others. As you know, we bought Red Laser last year, but there is competing products. It's just an easy way to interact with a product, search for availability, figure out what's going on, get reviews, get recommendations, whatever it may be. Nothing particularly distinctive about the ability to read a QR code or a bar tag, obviously. The distinctiveness comes in making sure that you have information sitting behind that is relevant to the consumer, and that is perhaps made available by the retailer. Third element, search and find the product you want. So now you have found, in this case it is apparel size small, and you need small and the rack only has large and medium. What do? In Milo, we have a company that taps into the local retail stock availability. And it therefore allows our merchant customers to real-time serve up. Well, it may not be available in the Oxford Street store, but if you walk 400 yards to Regent Street, we have it over there. And if you press this button, we'll reserve it for you. Now, it's just one example, obviously, but you can see that having hyper local information also on inventory is very important. And for retailers who don't have the wherewithal to link their own, I mean, they may not have real-time stock information. Milo also has the capability to do stock simulation and with some degree of confidence predict that a certain size will be available here, there, or somewhere else. So very important, obviously, to the consumer who is in the mind to buy something to make sure that they find what they want. Promotions speaks for itself. We need to be able to push that. That's part of the PayPal wallet of the platform. Others who are building wallets are doing the same. You need to be able to deliver relevant coupons and make those coupons or offers or incentives available when the consumer wants to use them. And it's frankly not the most complex part of the whole value system. Multiple ways to pay. So there's much to do about NFC. Well, we are excited about NFC, but not as excited as others. We see it as just a way to pay. And we don't think that the revolution in payments is going to be contingent or predicated on NFC. NFC is just a way to pay, nothing more, nothing less. And for big amounts, it's waiving and still entering your PIN in all likelihood. Everyone is still figuring out what the standard will be, so lots of unknowns. We just see it as one way to pay. We think that customers will take out their card and enter chip and PIN for quite some time. We think that people will want an empty hand solution, which is what you see on the screen, just entering your phone number and a PIN. And there may be other form factors, a barcode on your cell phone. At this moment, we are live in the UK with a solution that does just that. You make a payment and the cashier scans the barcode on your phone screen and you have paid. So we are in a way form factor agnostic. And we think that that has a better chance of success than betting on one particular form factor where there's still a battle of standards and where you have a penetration problem. I mean, NFC, everyone can share projections that in 2016 there'll be lots of NFC phones. Well, that may well be true, but our merchant customers and our consumers want a solution that works in 2012 as well, when they don't have an NFC phone. So many different form factors is our approach. Now, this new retail has already started in the UK. I mean, we're live in private beta. This is not yet for the general public because obviously with these disruptions, you want to test how does it really work, how does the consumer react, and I'm going to share a couple of examples with you. One that you're probably familiar with because it did get a lot of press. Our friends at Pizza Express had a problem, or an opportunity rather. Pizza Express is very, very busy around lunchtime. And obviously when you have a restaurant, you want to turn those tables over as quickly as you can. And if you can turn a table twice in the lunch hour, that's worth a lot of money. It turns out that given staff scheduling and busyness in the restaurants during lunchtime in particular, a little less during dinner, people were waiting for their bills, and waiters and waitresses were running around to figure out how to take the payments. And they only have a limited number of these chip and pin terminals, so bottleneck. Not good for the consumer who is irritated at waiting, and not good for Pizza Express who want to turn over their table. So what did they do? And we're going to show this little video that explains it.
Pizza Express have just released their very first iPhone app in the UK. Not only can you search for your closest restaurant and view the menu, you can also now pay for your bill using your iPhone via PayPal. Today I'm going to test it out and show you how it's done. The key features on the new Pizza Express iPhone app allow customers to do the following: find and book a table, view the menu, log into My Pizza Express, and pay via PayPal on your iPhone. You can search for your favourite pizza by selecting the menu option and finding information on everything you need. And if you want to book a table, you can select this option and Pizza Express will find your nearest restaurant, get directions, and have your reservation booked. Nice and easy. And using the My Pizza Express feature, you can save and track your receipts, bookings, favourite restaurants, whilst enabling you to take advantage of any vouchers and coupons at the touch of a button. By using the iPhone app to pay for your meal, you can take the stress out of some sticky situations. I mean, imagine if you're an important businesswoman with only an hour to spare that needs to rush back to the office on an important deadline. Or on a date when sometimes you just don't want to be disturbed. So we've all got one of those mates who forgets their wallet. Well, now you can just pass them your phone and they can pay with PayPal. All you have to do is click on the app, select the pay your bill option, and enter the 12-digit code, which will be clearly marked on the bottom of your bill. Once the bill appears, you can check the amount on the app, matches your bill, and add a tip, if you wish. You'll also have the option to redeem against a valid offer code or voucher, and your total bill amount will be automatically amended. Then you can check out via PayPal. Once payment is received, the app will send you and Pizza Express tills a receipt, so everybody knows that we paid. Simply show your waiter confirmation and you're good to go.
Alright, you get the drift. Hardly gonna revolutionize our lives as we know it, the fact that you can check out like that at Pizza Express. And obviously it's a little clunky to enter a 9-digit number, and the next stage is you just scan something on the printer. That doesn't matter. The concept is bringing PayPal to the point of sale in a restaurant environment is fairly trivial. We are live with more restaurants today. That is in private beta. Restaurants somehow find it easier to work quickly on these innovations than some of the regular retail customers. We got some names in the pipeline, and this year, early next year, we'll be live in a part of London where our local customers will be able to use us in their local stores. And for us, that's really a way to learn our way into this market. We need to make sure we have the proposition right for both retailer and consumer, obviously. Tesco. So Tesco and PayPal share one approach in their platform. We both have opened up our APIs to the rest of the world. So there's a Tesco API that you can call on. There is PayPal APIs, and what we put together in relatively short order is a application by which you can shop in Tesco. You scan the barcodes of the goods that you put in your shopping basket, and on the way out you scan this QR code and you confirm and you've paid with PayPal. Just an example in a very mainstream shopping environment, which would revolutionize aspects of the business system for Tesco. I was in a meeting with senior Tesco management, former management last week, and They said that for their checkout lanes, they had done tests, and they think there is a 40% time reduction opportunity at checkout. Very different, of course, from the Pizza Express problem at a much different scale. But for a company like Tesco, you're talking about tens of millions of opportunity a year, and that is just from increasing the speed of checkout. Because chip and pin, in fact, is pretty slow, even for a very well-connected merchant. Now, there's more going on. This we have in a pilot environment in Germany. You scan and you pay. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I mean, maybe you select color and size. And a more advanced version of this is something that we are, we have it working. We're now looking to deploy it in a pilot environment, which we called Shop Window. It's basically a computer screen projected onto a shop window. When you put a certain film on the window, you can create a reflective surface. A consumer who is outside that shop window at after hours can check into that shop window, and at that point in time, whatever he or she does on their iPhone or Android is reflected in the shop window. And the user experience you should expect is, for example, a white shirt is modeled. You can flip it around and look at it in the shop window. You select size, and you can basically transact and buy there in that shop window. Whether we're all going to buy things on the street while looking at shop windows with other people looking over our shoulder, I don't know. Are we going to play games at a bus stop where there's a little screen and two people who show up start playing random games? Probably. Now, we want to be ready for those kind of opportunities, and it's part of the innovation. You try things and then you see what sticks. But there is a relevance to our merchant customers, because obviously, wouldn't it be nice if you could use your real estate as a retailer to sell stuff when your shop is closed? That's a pretty interesting proposition. So for us, the future of money is here today already. We're working hard on it. Point of sale is our number one strategic priority at PayPal. There is no doubt that in 2012 we'll be at the point of sale in a visible way. There is no doubt that we're going to push through with that, and that we see a completely seamless experience between our online and our offline, between our computer and our point of sale experience. That's what we are working on. That's what we're going to bring to market, and we very much would like you in due course to join us for that journey. What I wanted to do is see whether you have any questions or comments. And we have a few minutes left. I don't know whether we are, going to end right on time. And I also put this up in case you want to send me an email. Just scan this thing, and you can also send me an email later. Please. I don't know. I'll repeat the question. Yeah. All right. But the first question of the gentleman is, you provide such valuable service. How can you do it at so low a price? Was that your question? Yeah. It's, we just do it from the goodness of our heart. Now, he was asking, is there going to be a different merchant discount rate at point of sale versus online? We'll see. I mean, I know something about it. I'm not going to tell you today. Part of it is when we provide the value chain that I painted from demand generation to payments, clearly a different price tag is associated with that than when you simply facilitate a payment. So we are not going at point of sale to just be in the plain vanilla payments business. We're going there to present the merchant with what we trust to be a distinctive value proposition. A bit like what we're doing online. I mean, online we are not the discount provider either. We have ample evidence that when you use us, you get incremental sales. So we're very comfortable. I'm very comfortable selling that. And Mark Brandt, our head of sales, who is sitting in the back, is also comfortable selling it. But, it's tough at times, clearly. But we're doing really well with that. Your second question was, as a consumer with NFC, As I said, we're form factor independent. We will have, as part of our solutions in the UK, NFC will be part of it, no doubt. We just don't find it the most interesting part of the transaction. Particularly because once you are into the higher amounts, it's still NFC and PIN or whatever it may need to be. And we don't want to limit our solutions to just those consumers who have NFC-enabled phones or those merchants who have NFC-enabled terminals. So it's part of the mix, but not the key part for us. I don't know. I haven't seen Google Wallet yet. I've seen slides about it. So I don't know. Clearly, Google is a formidable company, and as far as we're concerned, it's game on, you know. Yeah, we now have a microphone.
Don't know if it works. There we go. I don't know how much you know about it, but do you know anything about what eBay is launching later today, like PayPal Access and eCommerce? If you could explain a little bit about those.
Well, yeah, I do know about it, but what is your question?
So what's the plan there, I guess?
So eBay Mobile, big deal. 20% of eBay's volume is touched by mobile one way or another. And as you are here, we just opened today in San Francisco our X.commerce conference. eCommerce is a third business unit for the company. eBay Inc. has PayPal, eBay, and now X.commerce. And X.commerce is really an open platform approach to e-commerce, where the PayPal assets, the Magento assets from other acquisitions that we have made are packaged to facilitate retailers being in business. That's a really important part of our future. We would like X.commerce to be one of the leading e-commerce platforms. We're very happy with Magento and how Magento, which we purchased earlier this year, how Magento is doing, how it's growing, how it's getting traction. We believe in that open source model. Now that's a different business unit, so you know they are providing competing payment methods to PayPal, for example, because they take a completely development-centric, merchant-centric view of the world, and very active. Any other questions or comments? I should also in the back maybe at some point. Please.
It's just a little one. I just wanted to know if the Pizza Express iPhone app was available on the Android market at the moment.
Is it, Mark? I'm not an Android user. Pizza Express is working on a platform-agnostic version. So I think the answer is no, not now.
It's actually going to be live in November.
There you go. That's Aline Uren. She also works for PayPal, and she is the mother, proverbial mother of our Pizza Express work. Any other questions? All right. Thank you for your custom as PayPal customers. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you around in the marketplace. Thank you.